What up? What it is? What's popping? For a third time, it's the neighborhood nice guy, KDot, and welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Keeping It 9450, Codename WBB. Big shout out to our partners and our sponsors, right quick. But before I get into that, I can't do this without my lovely co-host right here. We got Lolivia Pope, aka Big Low. What's going on this evening?
I'm black and I'm blessed. It's a good day to be above ground, man. I can't complain. I can't complain at all.
Listen, the past like maybe 5 to 7 minutes has been the
A mess.
craziest thing in the world. It's been a
Yeah,
mess.
a mess easily.
it, it's been a mess. But story of our lives, right? So, before we get into it, again, want to shout out our sponsors, SeatGeek. If you're looking for a live WNBA game to go to or a concert, always hit up SeatGeek. Use the code the 9450 for $20 off anything that you got going on. So, SeatGeek, the 9450, $20 off. Go ahead and get your tickets right now. But we got a great show for you tonight. It's not going to be long. Hopefully we'll, keep you guys in a decent hour. And we want to talk about a number of things. The Aces going crazy right now, winning 7 straight. Kelsey Mitchell also going off without the likes of a number of her teammates, which of course includes Caitlin Clark. We're going to talk about a little bit of Minnesota Lynx and how they're faring without Nafisa Collier right now, and the age-old question, how good they look without Phee, that gives Coach Reeves a stronger case for Coach of the Year. And then last but not least, we want to talk about one of the hottest teams in the WNBA right now, and that is the Atlanta Dream. And have they finally figured it out? Because they look really, really good so far. So let's get right into it. First thing we want to go into is the Las Vegas Aces. Low 7 straight, and they're rolling. And at first, in the beginning of the season, towards the middle of the season, we were questioning during that slump that they had. The chemistry didn't look good. The defense was shaky. But right now, it looks like a switch has been flipped. So, of course, Asia has been steady all year long. We're starting to see remnants of Jackie Young and her consistency being
Yeah.
huge. And we're starting to see some more remnants of Chelsea Gray getting back into the flow of things and being the point guard that we've always known that she is. And then, of course, with the acquisition of Nalissa Smith, she's really, coming into her game very well. So I just want to kind of talk to you about that and ask you, is this the moment where they remind us and they remind the entire league who they are? And with the playoff positioning coming in, because they've gone from almost out of the playoffs to now they
Yeah.
sit in that fourth spot, are they peaking at the right time?
Absolutely. I mean, it's no better time to peak. I think that everyone knows the Aces did not play well in the beginning of the year. And it was extremely shocking for us all because for the last 3 years, we have been used to seeing elite basketball out of Vegas. And so I understand that the team had completely changed. They lost like 5 or 6 players, new players coming in, rookie coming in as well. The coaching staff changing. So it was a lot of changes going on in Vegas. And fans were not happy about how they were playing because sometimes it didn't even look like it was a schematic thing. It looked like it was straight up effort. So now I think that they are settling in. I think that they are everyone kind of knows their role a little bit more. And I think it starts with the head of the snake, right? 4 syllables. Asia Wilson. Like her dominance. She's been on an absolute tear during this win streak. But this time around, her teammates are also pulling their weight. They're contributing. During the win streak, though, Asia has averaged 26 points and 13 boards. Not to mention, during that stint, she has 5 double doubles in 7 games and had the 32 points and 20 board game, and then had two more games where she had back-to-back games with 16 rebounds. Like, we're talking about the best player in the world. Like, I know it is conversation about who is the best player in the world. I think that's premature. Um, but it's clear as day to me that A'ja Wilson is still the best player in the world. Until somebody comes snatch her chain, I mean, it's no way. And I've been seeing discourse, KDot. We didn't talk about this before we recorded, but I'm gonna get back on what the Aces have been doing well. But I've been seeing a lot of discourse on Twitter specifically about people calling her a free throw merchant, and all she does is go to the line for free throws. And that whole narrative to me is weird because we just watched SGA win MVP and a championship going to the free throw line. We watched James Harden literally go to the free throw line and average like 15, free throws per game. This is my thought process on it. Does it slow up the game? Absolutely. But are free throws a part of the game? Yes. Stop hacking and she won't go to the free throw line. So I think she's averaging, I think I read something about 9 to 10 free throw attempts a game. If we're keeping it a buck, Asia's getting fouled more than that. So those are the only ones that they are calling. To be honest, she should be at the line at least 15 times a game because they are literally hacking. So that's my rebuttal to that. I think people now are so into analytics, they don't enjoy the actual game of basketball. Like, just like a jump shot is a part of the game of basketball, shooting free throws are also a part of the game. So utilize it to your favor. Like, that just kind of pissed me off. What do you think about that? Did you see that on the timeline?
Yeah, I did see it on the timeline, and I want to bring a little bit of a different perspective on it because as a coach, the best availability to get an easy shot is getting to the line, being aggressive and getting to the line. And as a fan, of course, everybody is looking at it from an entertainment perspective. So they don't necessarily want to see people go to the line, but if you're in the trenches and you're playing the actual game, that's the goal. You want to get the easiest bucket possible. And part of getting the easiest buckets possible is getting fouled and going to the line.
And then
And
also, hold on real quick, also getting the opponents in foul trouble.
exactly, because when you're looking at it from a professional standpoint, you only get 5 fouls before you're in the bonus. And it's actually you get 4, and then the fifth you go into the bonus. And that's
Yeah.
what you don't want to do as a defense. So if you're smart from an offensive standpoint, and let's kind of slow down on the whole foul merchant thing. We've seen countless photos, countless videos,
Yes.
countless records of A'ja being quadruple teamed, and out of the 4 people guarding her, 2 of them are on her hip, touching her arm. It's clear as day. So let's not act like it's a dramatic fashion on
Right.
how he's getting to the line. Like, it's clear as day that A'ja is one of the most, if not the most dominant player in the league, and they have to foul to keep her from getting into rhythm.
Yep.
That's another strategy that people fail to realize as well. Sometimes, and this is going to sound crazy as I don't know what, but sometimes you do want to foul said player to get them frustrated
Mm-hmm.
because it gets them out of their perimeter rhythm. Yeah, they
Mm-hmm.
go into the free throw line and shooting free throws, but a lot of that gets them mentally out of rhythm because they're tired of being hacked. So sometimes you have to play those percentages as well. And that is an actual strategy in some people's schemes. And I'm not saying that it's the end all be all strategy, but in some cases, it is a really good strategy. So I don't care too much about the whole notion of the term foul merchant because it's part of the game. And honestly, going over to the men's side, James Harden found a loophole in the rules and he mastered it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, to us as I guess old school, I guess basketball fans, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
it might suck from an entertainment standpoint, but if I'm playing the game and if that's my teammate, I'm clapping every time he gets
Every
fouled
time.
because
Every time.
that's a bucket, and I know if I'm 91+% from the free throw line, I know those are easy points. The goal is to win the game, and in order to win the game, you have to score more points than the opponent, and part of that is getting to the free throw line. And
Right.
honestly, that's probably what you really want to do to get the defense or your opponent out of sorts. So, I don't really, take heed to what fans are saying. And also fans, I've said this over and over on Twitter as well. We got to stop stat referencing, watch more basketball.
Yes.
Please. Shout out to my man DA. Watch more basketball. I think that also when you're talking about dominance, Asia Wilson has pretty much checked all the boxes on how to just be a gravitational pull for a defense.
Yeah.
And when she becomes that, and when she became that, and I believe she really figured that out in like 2022, if you will, that first championship. I really, really think that from that perspective, like once you are a gravitational pull, then everything else comes easy to you. And once she's added that playmaking ability, um, it is just made her one of the most unguardable players in the league.
Yeah.
So I say all that to say, if you don't want her to get her buckets, I don't know how you guard her. Can't guard her straight up.
You gotta
you
you gotta
you
send
can't.
3 bodies and hope she can't pass out of the triple team.
That hope and pray. That's all.
Right.
The best
Or hack
defense
like
is
they're
is
doing, or hack.
yeah.
Like you
It,
said,
it,
it takes her out of her rhythm. Sometimes, it helps when people see the ball go in, but you know, to be honest, if you're not sending 3 at her, you might as well just hack.
yeah. Like it is what it is. I mean, do you really hear anybody saying that with you know what? Never mind. I'm not gonna go into that. I'm not gonna go into that. I'm not gonna go into that.
Now I'm kidding. Now I'm curious.
We'll let's see if you catch it when we get to the next
Oh,
to
I
the
got it
next
already.
segment.
Got it. Okay. Okay, I got it. But I wanted to add just a few more things about the Aces. I think another
Absolutely.
thing, another thing we have to look at is the lineups, right? With Jewel asking to
Absolutely.
come off the bench, it seems to be working for Vegas. Since she's been coming off the bench, Jewel has averaged double digits each game. In fact, had 27 against the Valkyries and then 21 against the Liberty. I think we also have to talk about the point guard. In the
Yep.
beginning of the year, she was not playing that great. And y'all know I've gone on record and said Chelsea Gray is the best point guard in the WBA history to me. I've gone on record and said that. She was making me eat my words at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. She
People was
now
go ahead.
from a transparency standpoint, and of course, we're completely objective to everything. So anybody who is playing terribly will
Correct.
get our professional criticism.
Correct.
She was not the point guard.
Nope.
She was very mortal. She
Yeah.
was very mortal.
Yeah.
And I know she understands that. And that's why we're getting ready to talk about how great she has been. So
Correct.
continue.
I mean, and I agree. And so that's what I tell people because people are like, oh, you're an Aces fan. I'm like, I like good basketball. I like Asia and I like Chelsea Gray, just like I like other players on other teams. But one thing I do consistently is even if the people that I like aren't playing well, I'm on that ass. Like I'm literally critiquing them because that's what the game is about. Like this is what we're here to do, right? Anyway, back to Chelsea. I think she cleaned up a few things. So especially the turnover department. Earlier in August, she had 7 turnovers against the Valkyries. Yesterday, she had 10 points, 14 assists, and 1 turnover. That's the Chelsea Gray I'm used to seeing. And I think in the
Absolutely.
beginning of the year, Chelsea was so adamant about the home run passes and the and one mixtape stuff. And I think now she's making the simple pass. Like when I used to play, I used to do jump passes all the time, and my coaches fucking hated it. They hated it, right? Because it's an easy way to get a turnover. And
Absolutely.
so they will always tell me, just make the simple pass. Like, just make the simple pass. And I feel like that is what she's doing right now. I think also their defense looks better from the eye test, especially late
Yes.
game
Yes.
scenarios. Even the other day when they were playing against the Liberty, they outscored them 22-14 in the fourth quarter, showcasing their discipline on the defensive end and the clutch. So I think in conjunction with all of those things, we see the Aces playing better and clicking at the right time. Like this is the perfect time for them to be clicking on all cylinders.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to give credit to Coach Becky Hammond because
Yeah.
it seems to me, in Coach Becky Hammond knows that I love her very, very much as a basketball mind, and um, I'm definitely going to give her a quick shout out because she's made an adjustment, and that adjustment is actually trusting the players that she have. Sometimes it was a short leash and she really just trusted, that core environment that she's trusted for a very long time now. That's gotten her 2 championships already, right? So by her trusting Kirsten Bell more, by her trusting Dana Evans more, by bringing in Nalissa Smith and actually giving Nalissa Smith the opportunity to just be Nalissa Smith
Yeah.
and not necessarily go through the trenches of what Aces basketball looked like prior to Nalissa Smith getting there. That has also been a great change, and
Yeah.
that has definitely started on the defensive end. I think that the team has bought in a lot more defensively, and I
Yeah.
want to credit Asia Wilson as a leader for that as well.
Yeah.
And the most important thing is with great defense comes great offense, and
Yes.
their fast break points have increased a lot. They're getting stops and they're actually running. Against Dallas the other night, scoring 100 plus points, you saw where Chelsea Gray was able to become the magician that she is.
Mm-hmm.
And those fast break lead passes were incredible.
Immaculate.
Incredible. I mean, Jesus Christ. It was just amazing. And that's the Las Vegas Aces that we are used to seeing, and that's the
Yeah.
Las Vegas Aces that hopefully will continue this hot streak going. And speaking of hot streaks, whew, let's go over to the Midwest right quick because I don't want to say Midwest. I don't know where Indiana is, but there's someone in Indiana by the name of Kelsey Mitchell who went absolutely nuclear against the Connecticut Sun. I mean, 38 points, statement game.
Yeah.
They needed that game down as many as 21 or something
Yeah.
like that. It didn't look good. And then for Sophie Cunningham to go out with an injury early in that game in the first half, it looked even worse. And Twitter was going crazy. It was like, oh man, something's going on, and something's not right in Indiana. I don't know what's up with all of this uh juju, bad juju that was going on. But anyway, Kelsey Mitchell said, "Don't worry about it. I got y'all."
Right.
And I wanted to ask you because Kelsey Mitchell has always been the great ball player that she has been, but
Absolutely.
unfortunately, the team just hasn't been they just haven't been good in her tenure there. And when you finally get 2 seasons where you're actually in talks of contention, and then you get this year where you're supposed to be top 4 and nothing, it seems like nothing has gone right. For Kelsey Mitchell to step up the way that she did last night, and for Coach Stephanie White to get emotional as she did last night because she
Mm-hmm.
saw how resilient that Indiana Fever team was, and seeing Kelsey Mitchell lead the way, what stood out to you about that leadership with, of course, the star Caitlin Clark out? And let's just talk about to me, Aaliyah Boston's presence, giving Kelsey Mitchell that additional freedom to step in fully and be that additional scorer that we all know the Indiana Fever needs. Like, what do you think about that dynamic?
I think overall it was a great team win for the Fever, and it's no secret that they have been getting their butts kicked by the injury bug. Ari McDonald out for the rest of the year. Unfortunately, Sydney Colson out for the rest of the year. If I had to guess, Caitlin probably won't return until playoffs if she's able to. Then you had, Sophie going down. So it's like those are four people, and at least three of those people play major minutes. So for them to rally from behind from 21 points when Connecticut was clicking on all cylinders, like they were hooping. For them to rally behind and know that they desperately needed this win, like I would say this is probably the best one of the year for them. And they've had some decent wins, but I would say this is easily one of the best wins of the year, just because of how hard they had to fight tooth and nail to get this win. Like you mentioned before, 38 points from Kelsey Mitchell. But one thing that I thought was impressive was their defense in that fourth quarter. They only
Yep.
allowed the Connecticut Sun to score 9 points in an entire quarter. Like embarrassing for the Sun, but hell of a defensive job for, the Fever. And the craziest part to me about this whole thing is people are still shocked that Kelsey Mitchell is a bucket. Like she's been that. You know what I'm saying?
Always.
Even dating back from college, like she's been a bucket. Like you said, she's just been on Indiana and they haven't been good. So maybe that's why people didn't know. And also because when Caitlin is in, and rightfully so, when Caitlin's in, the game is Caitlin centric. It's Caitlin and Aaliyah Boston centric. So Kelsey Mitchell will go off here and there, but she's not getting the scoring opportunities that she would get if she was on another team that wasn't as, locked and loaded. So the thing that impressed me the most was in the first half, Sister Girl was 0 for 7 from the field.
Right.
She was 0 for 7 with 4 points. And then
Yep.
you come back in the second half and score 34 points, including the overtime as well. But shooting 7 for 10 from the field and then 3 for 4 from long distance. So ended the game after starting 0 for 7. She ended the game shooting 50% from the field and 64% from long distance. That's kind of wild to me.
Yeah, that is wild. That's definitely wild.
Like that's just insane to me. But last thing I'll say about it, like you said, I think it just shows the resiliency that they had last night. Now, can they string a couple of wins together? Who knows, right? But I still think that they have enough talent, depending on how long Sophie's going to be out. I still think that they have enough talent to do so. And you know that you have a dog on your team that can go out and get damn near 40 points. So it was a great win for the Fever.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely great win, especially, under the circumstances that they've, been going through all season long.
Yeah,
So to see Connecticut go up in that game the way that they did, starting on the defensive end, and then turning it around in that second half, Indiana, I'm saying, I'm I'm thrilled to see that happen. So hopefully, this could be a spark. We don't know because
yeah,
of, again, one of their another major contributor to
yeah,
their team, Sophie Cunningham, is out, and I haven't seen an MRI come out yet on the diagnosis of what has occurred with her. It looked like her knee. So hopefully we have some results that come out, and hopefully, for the Indiana Fever's sake, it's nothing, extremely, um, extremely dangerous, if you will.
yeah,
But great win. But Kelsey Mitchell, yes, you do deserve your flowers. Like,
yeah,
pure bucket. And I think that last night proved to you how much of a leader she can be,
mm-hmm,
and lead this team to potentially future victories. But I want to go into another um realm of discussion, because I know that there has been a lot of talk regarding MVP this year.
yes,
We're talking about MVP since February. I'm talking about since Unrivaled.
yes,
The notion of Nafisa Collier, um, of course, hands down, being the 2025 WNBA MVP prior to the season because of how well she played in Unrivaled. And of course, obviously, it translating to the WNBA season. So the Minnesota Lynx have steady. They've been really, really, really steady in the win column without Nafisa Collier, who went out a couple weeks ago with the right ankle injury,
Mm-hmm.
which is impressive within itself, right? Role players have stepped up. Cheryl Reeves' adjustments are keeping them afloat,
Yeah.
but it raises a real, real tough discussion. And you mentioned this on Twitter the other day. So I want to kind of expound on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, with the recent success that we've seen with the Minnesota Lynx in their wins, they're still winning without Nafisa Collier.
Correct.
Does this hurt Nafisa Collier's case for MVP since the team is still winning? Or does it shine a bigger spotlight on Cheryl Reeves as coach of the year? And honestly, you can flip it either way because maybe it actually proves how valuable Phee is when she's on the court. Maybe it just expounds it even more. But what do you think about the whole notion of Minnesota still winning even without the preseason front runner for MVP?
I feel like since Unrivaled, people have already had it in their minds that Nafisa was going to win MVP. Like a lot of people had it in their minds. I'm not saying media members per se, but like before the season even started, they were like, "Oh, Phee got it. Fee's gonna be MVP." So I think she has played at an MVP level literally all season. She has had her team in the number one spot. They have been playing on one accord. So I think both things could be true. Like I think this is a testament to how good Cheryl Reeve is as a coach. I mean, we don't have to run down her resume, but we already know what Cheryl has done. Four-time champion, four-time coach of the year, two-time executive of the year. Just can flat out coach. She can coach when she has a lot of talent. So when she had the likes of Maya, Simone, Sil, Lindsay, like she can coach a really talented team and she can coach a team to just know how to pick the pieces to make it work for her and her philosophy. So I think that goes without saying. In my opinion, the race for coach of the year is between three people. It's between Carl Schmesko, it's between Cheryl Reeve, and I'm throwing Natalie's name in there because no one expected the Valkyries to be what they are right now. No one.
Absolutely.
Um, and if we're keeping it a buck, the reason why Carl is in first place to me is simply because no one expected Atlanta to be like this either. Like people might have thought that they were going to make the playoffs just solely based on the talent that they had. But a rookie head coach coming from a collegiate level and having these girls or these women in what are they, second place? They're still in second place?
They're
Yeah.
still in second place. Yep.
So having them
Absolutely.
in second place while KDot dealing with injury throughout the year. You
Yes.
know, Jordan Canada was out for some time. Ryan Howard was out for a number of games. Brittany Griner is sidelined for a number of games. So with all those things being considered, to me, he's number one right now. To me, he's number one. But Cheryl, in my opinion, is not that far behind. In regards to does it hurt Fee's MVP case? I don't want to say it hurts it, but I think I also look at MVP different than a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like MVP is not necessarily the best player in the league to me. It's who is the most valuable for their team. So if you take Asia off of that Aces team, they are not a playoff team. They're not. If you take Phee off of that Minnesota team, I think they're still a playoff team. Now, will they be as high as they are? Absolutely not. But I
Probably
still think
not.
that they're a playoff team because of the way that they're built and because of the pieces that they had. So I say all that to say I understand why people are saying that it is hurting her case. As of today, I have it neck and neck with Phee and Alyssa Thomas.
Whew.
That's who I
Talk
have.
about it.
That's who
Talk
I
about
have
it.
right now. And granted, it's still about a month to go or a little bit under a month to go. So anything can happen. But we would be remiss to say that Asia's not in the conversation. She's 100% in the conversation.
Of course.
Like the tear that she has been on, and people were like, "Oh, it's an off year for her." It's an off year for Sis, and she just had 32 and 20.
The first to ever do it.
But it's an off year, like that. So it's just certain stuff, like, and mind you, this is also someone that's putting up these numbers when they're being doubled and triple teamed.
Absolutely.
They can't do the same thing in Minnesota because the team is too talented. They
Way
have
too
too many
talented.
shooters and they can space the floor too much. So they can't double her. They can't double Phee because of the spacing of that team. You can double a team like the Aces because we know that they have been not shooting that great all season. So again, I'm not saying this to say that Asia is the MVP as of today, but for people to say that she's not in the conversation, that's foolish. You can't just watch the last 7 games and even before that, right? Throughout the whole season, she has not played bad. Like it's just not the level that we were used to seeing her play last year. And it's also because her entire team has been struggling. So still averaging 22 points and your team has been not great the entire year. I'm not too mad at that. She's averaging one less point than Phee. She's number 2. This is going off of memory, so my numbers might be a little off, but she's number 2 in rebounding. She's number 1 in blocks, and I think she's shooting like over 50% from the field. So, I mean, come on, it's a 3. It's still the same 3 that were in the conversation last year, even though I don't think it was a conversation last year. But the same 3 that were in the conversation last year to me are also in the conversation this year. And if Phee cannot come back within the next 2 weeks, the conversation is going to get very, very interesting. Because what does Alyssa Thomas go do? She see A go get 32 and 20. Sister go out and go get a triple double last night. And I tweeted and I'll say it on here. We have to stop normalizing triple doubles. Because Alyssa Thomas is so skilled that she can do that, and I think she has like 15 or something like that now. We can't overlook how difficult it is to get a triple double. That is difficult. Okay, especially when you have 2 bum labrums. Like, and it's funny because somebody was like, "Well, damn, if she playing like this, what was she doing before? Before she tore her labrums or whatever." And somebody posted like vintage Alyssa Thomas. Like a lot of people forget, Alyssa Thomas had a nice left-handed stroke. Like she could
Yeah.
shoot that thing.
Yeah.
You know.
That left-handed
So
floater was killer.
I'm telling you, like so imagine if she still had 2 shoulders. She really sparing y'all for not getting them things fixed. What
Yo.
you got, KDot?
Yo. Listen, I'm gonna say this quickly because I do want to add a lot of context to the Minnesota Lynx talk, right? I saw I'm saying it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It's only me saying this. It's ridiculous. I'm pretty sure um I'm that dope enough for people to agree. But someone said that the Minnesota Lynx are a super team, and I'm like, did we lose the definition of what a super team is? Because I don't
They got
think,
one superstar on their team.
yeah, there's only one superstar on that team. You have a team full of players who understand their role and are
Mm-hmm.
extremely good at it.
Yes.
That's not the definition of a super team.
A super team is New York
Exactly.
when healthy.
When healthy. Let's throw that caveat out there as well. When healthy. That is the literal definition of a super team. But when you're talking about the Minnesota Lynx and when you're talking about someone in Cheryl Reeve, who is a 4-time champion, as a head coach,
Yep.
remember, if I'm not mistaken, I think Cheryl probably has 7 total or
I
6
think so.
total,
It's something like that. Yeah.
including her championships with Coach Bill Lambier and the Detroit Shock. Shout out to the Detroit Shock.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we're talking about um we're talking about basketball royalty,
Yeah.
and the Minnesota Lynx are just that good of a team. Kayla McBride, obviously incredible all-star, but
Yeah.
not a superstar.
Correct.
Courtney Williams, an incredible all-star, but not a superstar.
Correct.
Alana Smith, incredible player. She wasn't even selected to the All-Star game, but not a superstar. Bridget Carlton, incredible player, not considered a superstar. Like that's not your traditional definition of a super team. They are extremely good. Nafisa Collier makes them extremely better, in my
Yes.
opinion. So, with or without Nafisa Collier, the Minnesota Lynx are going to be good. They are. There's no doubt about it. But with Nafisa Collier, it just catapults how good they are to just another level. So, for example, you might get a night where without Nafisa Collier, the Minnesota Lynx would easily win by, let's say, 8 or 9 points. Maybe with a Nafisa Collier, that 8 or 9 points jump to a 19, 20 point win.
Right.
And that's just by sheer plus minus, or not even by points. It's just by the sheer productivity of what Nafisa Collier brings. And that's what elevates that team to a deeper level of being unbeatable. But without Nafisa Collier, they are very beatable. They are.
Yeah.
They are. And I just wanted to kind of throw that caveat out there. So I think from the standpoint of where we come from, most valuable player is, a definition that I think from a lot of voter standpoint have been misaligned, because I think a lot of voters, in my opinion, who do have votes, don't necessarily see the game for what it is. They see more stats and more trends,
Mm-hmm.
and
Talk
they
about
they
it.
pick they pick based off of kind of like the "what have you done for me lately" type, instead of seeing the full spectrum of what happened May 14th to what happened September 12th or September 10th, when the very last game of the season ends and the start of the playoffs begin. I think that's part of this never ending conversation of how we evaluate what a most valuable player is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not to take anything away from Nafisa Collier, because even without Nafisa Collier playing right now, and shout out to Cerebro Sports, I trust them a lot with a lot of great analytics and stats that base their analytics and stats off of Shore Film. Nafisa Collier continues to lead all players in a CRAM of 11.7 with a usage rate of 28.9%. Asia Wilson is behind her at 11.5 with a usage rate of 31.7%. And guess who's behind her? Alyssa Thomas with a 10.6 and a usage rate of an astounding 24.9%. So
I'm
it
just
goes
curious,
to
real quick.
show,
Where is
yeah.
where's Sabrina on there? Because I keep seeing people put her name in the conversation. I don't think you can put Sabrina's name before Alicia Gray.
And Alicia Gray is number 7 right now,
Okay.
at a 9.4. Sabrina Ionescu sits at 13 at 8.9.
Got it.
Now, granted, I'm gonna bring some more context to Sabrina Ionescu, because I've also heard MVP talk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fine, but at the same time, we have to look at how numbers look. Again, we can't stat reference. Sabrina will have games where she'll probably fill up the stat sheet, but she probably has 8 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, right? A lot of people look at that as just being an overall player.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another game where she'll stand out: 32 points,
Mm-hmm.
10 assists, 5 rebounds. Stat wise, let's be real with numbers. That's going to skew your numbers and is
Mm-hmm.
going to look a little bit better than what the actual game looks like, because that single stat line that Sabrina may have, she probably shot 2 for 19 from the field.
Mm-hmm.
So it lacks a little bit of context from an efficiency standpoint. And that's not to say that Sabrina isn't doing everything that she can with the injury riddled New York Liberty team.
Absolutely.
Because again, they caught the injury bug real bad, and it started off in that June 19th game against the Phoenix Mercury
Yep.
in Brooklyn. I was in the building when Jonquel Jones went down.
Yeah.
That started a domino effect of a bunch of nagging injuries that the New York Liberty has faced throughout this season. So when they get healthy, yes, please watch out.
That's what I said. I was
Watch
going to
out.
ask you that too because someone asked me the other day. They're like, "Yeah, the Liberty suck right now." I'm like, "They're injured, you know?
Right.
Like, do I think that they could still win some of these games that they're dropping? Absolutely, because they have enough
Of course.
talent to
They have
still
enough
win,
talent.
right? But I'll say this on here. I said it on the other podcast I'm on. Shout out to the Best MW show. But as of today, they're still my favorites. Like if they can get back healthy, if everyone can come back healthy, because to me, a front court of JJ, Emma Mieseman, and Stewie, the spacing, the ability to switch on defense, like the length of those three, the MVPs between those three. Because let's not forget, Emma Mieseman won the Finals MVP in 2019 when she won a championship with the Mystics. You
Absolutely.
know, we know JJ won a Finals MVP last year, and we know that Stewie has MVPs and Finals MVP. So a very, very talented team. You have Kennedy Burke coming into her own. Phoebus, doing what she does. Sabrina going off, like she doesn't have to be, when the team is healthy, she is not as much pressure on her as it was last year to score the basketball, right? You have Johannes coming off the bench. Like when Izzy Harrison was playing, she was playing well. You still got Natasha. Like they are stacked from every position on the floor. So if this team can get healthy at the right time, listen,
Yeah.
they are
Yeah.
going to be a very, 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 and I understand Atlanta and the Lynx are playing very well. But if New York can get healthy by playoff time, it's going to be a problem. If they can get healthy and then maybe have like a week or so to kind of fill each other out, because it's going to take time to get a little bit of chemistry back as well, right? Um, I just don't see a team beating them in 7 games. I just don't.
Yeah, it is going to be very difficult once they get healthy and once they can continue the chemistry as they move along.
Yes.
Um to there's so many different lineups to think about. We even saw the lineup in the finals last year that gave the Minnesota Lynx a lot of trouble with Stewie being the point guard.
Yeah.
You had Stewie, Leonie Phoebus, Niara Sabali, Sabrina, and JJ. Like Sabrina was the shortest one in that lineup,
Yeah.
and all they needed her to do was shoot threes in
Yeah.
that said lineup. So imagine taking Sabrina out and putting Emma Mieseman in that particular lineup,
Yeah.
and like
Who can
it's so
also
many
shoot,
things to
pass, and
yeah,
create. Because people
exactly.
people were acting like they didn't remember Emma. I'm like, bro, Emma can hoop. Like she can do it all
Yeah,
at 6'4".
Finals MVP in
Yes.
2019 with a teammate in Natasha Cloud at that time.
And playing with the great Elena Deladon. You winning Finals MVP over her, that means you out there
Yeah,
hooping.
that means
And
you out there hooping.
I see Amanda saying she doesn't know. I get it. Like I get it because they're not playing well right now. The Liberty are not playing well right now. But I want everyone to also remember, before JJ went down, they were clicking on all cylinders. They were
9-0.
not losing. JJ went down, and then that's when you start to see a little bit of regression. JJ got back, but then Stewie went down. So it's like they could never really get over that injury hump. So 80% of the year, they've been playing injured. And I think people are forgetting that, because in the beginning of the year, they were clicking on all cylinders. Like they looked amazing. And that's without even having Emma Mieseman yet. You know what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
so now you see her kind of getting into her own. I think since she's been with the team, she scored like 20 points, at least over 20 points at least twice. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but she's slowly but surely getting into her own. And I think for her, the chemistry is going to be a little bit easier because she's played with a lot of these players overseas before. She
Absolutely.
knows where they want the ball. She knows, you get what I'm saying? Like she knows where, yeah, see, they started in 9-0. She knows where she wants the ball. Where her teammates want the ball. She knows where to be on the floor. Like I think that'll help make things a little bit easier, but they just gotta all be healthy. They gotta all be
Yeah,
healthy.
absolutely. And I like that we kind of just, sprinkled in some Liberty talk right
I
there.
know.
Shout out to the local W right quick. But I want to kind of shift down south because not only we expected the Liberty to be the top seed, top two, right now they're in to Amanda's question. Stewie is expected to be back before her birthday. I believe her birthday is the
It's like the end
27th
of the
of
month, right?
August.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the month, she's expected to be back. She was a full participant in practice today, per our report from our shout out to Miles Ehrlich, who was at practice today. So, she was at practice.
Okay.
So, we expect her to be back, towards the end of August.
I'm going to
But
the game on Saturday in Atlanta.
let's
So I'm
let's see
hoping
what.
that she's back. I'm hoping she's back then.
And speaking of Atlanta, we gotta give some flowers to Atlanta, because they're sitting in the second seed right now,
Hmm.
even with, as you said earlier, even with the injuries that they've had. Ryan Howard was out for a while. Jordan Canada is going to be out for a little while. They've seen some knick-knack injuries, from some of their players, but they've been clicking on all cylinders. And is this finally the time for Atlanta to be one of those teams that we say, oh, they can for sure contend and possibly, hopefully, upset somebody this year? What do you think?
I think so. And me and Megan Hall, shout out to Megan Hall.
Absolutely.
We discussed it on a previous podcast and saying that, she said that she had a hot take and she basically said that she can see them being contenders. And I told her, listen, sister girl, that's not a hot take. Like, I
It's true.
truly believe it as well. Like, I think that they can upset someone because with Atlanta, now they're finally learning how to close out games. And that was their biggest Achilles heel. I want to see a little bit more before I can fully say like they're contenders. But even yesterday when they were playing Golden State, like they shot the ball terribly. Both teams, they did not shoot well, but they were still able to close out the game, find enough to get, a win. And I think the biggest difference for me is them tightening up on defense. They're third in defensive rating and fifth in overall point score, and also third best in protecting the ball. So they're right behind Minnesota when it comes to that. So if you are playing good defense and then you're protecting the ball, more than likely you're going to do well. And that's what we see. We see that all the players are bought into Carl Schmesko's system. Everyone seems to know their role. You have Nas Hillman coming off the bench, and in my opinion, that's the most. I mean, that's most improved player in my opinion. You have Pow coming in and giving great minutes. And sister girl been kind of working on defense. Like I know in the beginning of the year she was getting cooked out there. Like she was getting cooked. I'm not gonna lie to you. But when they were playing Seattle over the weekend in Canada, she blocked Skylar like a big block at the end of the game, and she had a couple good defensive stops. So I wanted to give her a shout out for that. Bree Turner, always going to shoot over 50% from the field. And of course, like we got to mention the 1A and the 1B of the team, and Alicia Gray and Ryan Howard. Ryan Howard is just kind of getting back and revving up for injury from injury, but career year from Alicia Gray in Carl's system, averaging 18 points per game, 5 boards and 3 assists. On 44% shooting from the field and 39% shooting from long distance. Like she is shooting that thing. And the last 2 games, she didn't play great shooting wise. But overall this year, she has taken that step. And I think with the pieces they added with BG and Bree and just even Nas Hillman taking a step up. Like I think all of this has just helped them create what we're seeing now on the court. And you can tell that the team is close. Like I don't know any of
Yeah.
these ladies personally, right? But you can tell that they actually like each other off the floor. And to me, I'm old school in which like when you have a team that has legit chemistry off the floor, it spills into your actual profession and your job because you know that this person doesn't have ill intent. If I come to you and say, you need to be right here, and I'm yelling at you, right? you're not going to take it personal because you know I love you at the end of the day. Like, you know that it's just like in the moment I'm yelling at you because I need you to do this right now for us to win this game. Um, and so I think that's special when teams have like that chemistry that's just kind of oozing out of them. I think that's special. And I think, again, like I said, as of today, what's today, August 18th, Carl Schmesko is the leading candidate, in my opinion, for Coach of the Year. I mean, he has them women playing, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't know what it would look like because I'm like, this man loves to run and gun. He loves to let the 3-point fly. What the hell is BG going to do out there? What the hell is Bree going to do out there? That's the first thing I thought. But they actually are second, even though they like to run and gun, they're second in pace for
Yeah.
like second slowest for pace, in the league. So I think he's still like finding the balance of, okay, we need a bucket. Let me go into BG. Okay, we need to speed it up. Let me pick up the pace and let Maya Caldwell, run the point, or Jordan Canada. And so I think they're still winning games without Jordan Canada. I'm interested to see how long she'll be out because she is a pivotal point of their game, like on both ends of the floor, offensively and defensively. So what you think about Atlanta?
Yeah, I love Atlanta, and everybody knows that I love Atlanta. And everybody knows that for the past 3.5, almost 4 years, I've been wanting Atlanta to be successful,
Yeah,
and we've finally seen the success come into fruition. I think that from shout out to Darius.
I know. I miss his dad jokes.
Yeah, absolutely. I gotta shout him out right quick. Atlanta's keeping the dream alive for real. But from a professional standpoint and looking at it, in a coach's eye, they've finally found um the chemistry and the camaraderie and
Yeah.
the scheme that fit the players
Yes.
that Dan Panover brought in when he came from Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And I have to give a shout out to the ownership team, because they continued to try to ascend the team and not blow it all up because they felt like it wasn't working. So it was very good to see them continue to stay resilient. And now you're seeing the fruits of their hard labor from a roster standpoint and from a coaching staff standpoint really, really thrive. And hopefully they can continue this moving forward. Ryan Howard, again, hasn't been in the lineup a lot, but one thing that stood out to me before the injury, her defense has skyrocketed this year
Yeah.
in taking responsibility for guarding the best player. And that
First
set
team,
the
first
tone
team, first team, all defensive team. Got to be.
easily, easily. So I think that set the tone early on this year. And for Tahina Pow, I got to shout her out, because for her to come from a very prestigious program in South Carolina, by way of Oregon,
Hmm.
I want to respect Oregon because she started off there, but I think she became a professional once she transferred to South Carolina, and the extra
Absolutely.
year gave her that opportunity to become the professional that she is, and for
Absolutely.
her to be around great professionals like a Breezy, like a BG, like a Alicia Gray, like a Maya Caldwell, because Maya Caldwell, in my opinion, I've seen Maya Caldwell train in Charlotte, North Carolina. Shout out to her trainer, Tony Wynn. Um, I feel like she's always been, one of those great players
Yes.
that could break into a roster and continue to be a part of a roster moving forward in her career. And she's been doing that. And shout out to her, for playing in AU, because that catapulted her season as well from a professional
Where did
standpoint.
she
But
go to college?
dang. The moment you ask me that, now it flies out of my head. Dog it. I'm gonna have to look that up
Because I
again.
didn't start
Something's telling me
noticing her
Georgia Tech.
until I didn't start noticing her until probably 2 years ago. And I'm like,
Something's
she can hoop. Like,
yeah,
why have I never heard of her really?
something's telling me Georgia or Georgia Tech is I think is one of those colleges down there.
Okay.
But she's incredible. Listen, I personally saw her hit 20 straight threes. Personally.
Mm.
Personally. Like, I was, oh my God. yo, like Tim, like what we got here? Yo,
Yeah,
that's
she's
Maya.
solid and she quick. She's solid, bro.
Real quick,
Yeah.
real quick. You know what I'm saying? My man T Win, man. Shout out to him. You know, he trains like some of the best pros and the best college players out there. Like, make sure
Yeah.
y'all check him out if you're in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's a shameless plug right there. He'll probably thank me for shouting him out right quick. But yeah, Atlanta just has been, amazing. And you know, I think that if they can continue to the end, yes, thank you,
Georgia. Okay.
Griff. It was Georgia. But I think that if they can continue this upward trajectory and then get the necessary players like Jordan healthy,
Mm-hmm.
they could potentially, make some noise in the playoffs. And I'm going to be front and center and watching it because I've been so um I've been so secretly, invested
And rooting for
in.
them, low key.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
I'm rooting for him. I'm
Yeah.
really rooting for him. I know, Low, B Terrell, they're Atlanta. I mean, I know that they are Atlanta fans, and I
Yeah.
know that they're happy to see, the fruits of their hard labor come to fruition again this year as well. But I just wanted to, shout them out. But Atlanta is really good, and Carl Schmesko definitely, is to me one of the front runners for Coach of the Year. Of course, Natalie Nakase has to be hands down, and
Mm-hmm.
Cheryl Reeves as well. But honestly, Lo, I think I think we did good tonight. What
We
you think?
did. We brought up some random topics, just going off the top. We was potting tonight.
Yeah, yeah. The pod was definitely podding tonight, but we want to go ahead and break out this episode. So we want to thank everybody for tuning in with us, hitting us up. I know that we've kind of like been, on a hiatus just a little bit, but of course, you can always, follow us at the 9450 on Twitter, at the 9450 underscore on Instagram and TikTok, and at the 9450 on YouTube. Follow myself at k.lu3h on Twitter and Instagram. I'm gonna give Lo the opportunity to, shout her handles out. Shout out to the best damn W too. Y'all make sure y'all follow the best damn W and in all of their platforms with Jay, Nick, my man Wally. Like, they do amazing job. They do an amazing job over on that side. And make sure y'all look out for their live tomorrow night. I'm definitely going to be in the building. So Lo, what you got before we head out?
Yeah, shout out to my brothers, man. The best damn W show. Like KDot said, Nick, J, Wiley. Shout out to DA. See you in the comments, brother, man.
Yeah, man.
Um, yeah, it's always what do you say? Love is love. It's always love, DA.
Yeah, love is love. Is always love is
But
love.
also, y'all know where to find me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, Lolo Back, BYKE. And I'm also on TikTok at Hoops with Low. So come tap in with me.
Absolutely. And shout out to our sponsor, SeatGeek. Make sure you hit up SeatGeek at the 90 well, not at the 9450, but use code name the 9450 to get $20 off. Also, shout out to Welsh Mode Coffee. And also shout out to Home Field. I'll give a shout out to Home Field. I won't throw out any type of codes there
Mhm.
tonight, but you can go to Home Field Apparel, get your apparel for all college. We got some good stuff coming up on the college realm. So hopefully look out for that. But
I had
this,
one more shout out. Hold on.
yeah,
I also
give
want to
me
shout out to 21 titles for holding it down. They've been
21 to
holding it
listen.
down.
Shout out to Britt and Tay. They
Shout
know
out to my
they know how
girls.
much of a fan I am with 21 titles for sure, because they give you everything
Yeah.
outside of the basketball realm, everything business, everything tech. You have to make sure you listen to them. They go live on Sunday evenings, 7 p.m., 7:30, 7:30. Make sure y'all check them out on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Twitter as well. So huge shout out to our sisters Britt and Tay. Y'all are doing amazing things with your pod as well. So
Absolutely.
with that being said, this has been Keeping It 9450, codename WBB. And as we always say, love is love. Peace.